Smile. Smile right now. Smile. Smile a little bit. Come on, break the corners of your mouth. You right here. That's better. You just look better when you're smiling.
We know that it's warm in here. We're sorry. You're not nearly as warm as you will be if you don't repent.
I realize that my life for me and mine can never and should never be the same. For 22 years and until last Thursday morning, I have been a lawyer. And since then, I've been trying to repent.
I'm conscious, my brethren and sisters, that concluding this meeting will be President Kimball. And prior to the meeting, I told him that I had 3 talks of varying length. And during the singing, I received a note from him. And I was reminded of an experience we had in Colorado when we were reorganizing a stake. The meeting was nearly over. There were about 10 minutes left. Neither of us had spoken. The stake president announced me. President Kimball leaned over and said, "Please, you take all of the time." I bore a 1-minute testimony and returned to my seat. As the stake president was announcing him, I noticed him writing a note. As he stood, he handed it to me. On it were 5 words: "Obedience is better than sacrifice."
But who among us has not experienced moments of failure? I remember one that came to me when I was a young basketball player. The game was hotly contested. The coach gave me a key play. I entered the playing floor and took the pass from out of bounds, dribbled the basketball down the floor, through my own teammates, through the opposing team members, and then I went up high for the shot. And just as the basketball left my fingertips, I came to the horrible realization that I was shooting for the wrong basket. I offered the shortest prayer I've ever offered in my life. I simply said, "Dear Father, please don't let that ball go in." And my prayer was answered. The ball rimmed around the hoop and fell out. And while my prayer was answered, my ordeal was just beginning. I heard from the adoring fans in the cheering section a loud and prolonged chant that everyone could hear. I can never forget it. They shouted, "We want Monson! We want Monson! We want Monson out!" And the coach obliged.
One of your sons who had received a tape from home wrote, "I was holding my one-man sacrament meeting as usual out under a tree listening to church tapes. Brother Bruce R. McConkie's voice," he said, "was never this interesting back home. I've played him 50 times.
When I was a young man, my wife would ask me to come and help her with the dishes and make the beds and with other household chores. Now, at this time in our lives, I ask her to come and help me wash the dishes and make the bed.
I'm reminded of the young child misbehaving in a sacrament meeting. Father and mother a little embarrassed by the actions. Finally, father, getting a little disturbed, takes the child out. As he goes down the aisle, he gives the child a little squeeze. The child knows he's in trouble. As he turns to go out of the chapel, now up over his father's shoulder, he says, "Bishop, help me."
Elder Lauren Dunn, as I left for lunch, whispered in my ear and said, "They grade general authorities on how little time they take in their first address." I'm trying for a straight A today.
As a young father, I learned the demanding role of motherhood. I served as a counselor and then as a bishop for a period of 10 years. During that time, we were blessed with 6 of our 7 children. Barbara was often worn out by the time I got home Sunday evening. She tried to explain what it was like to sit on the back row in sacrament meeting with our young family. Then the day came I was released. After sitting on the stand for 10 years, I was now sitting with my family on the back row. The ward-singing mothers were providing the music, and I found myself sitting alone with our 6 children. I have never been so busy in my whole life. I had the hand puppets going on both hands, and that wasn't working too well. The Cheerios got away from me, and that was embarrassing. And the coloring books didn't seem to entertain as well as they should. As I struggled with the children through the meeting, I looked up at Barbara, and she was watching me and smiling.
But behold, I say unto you that you must study it out in your mind. Then you must ask if it be right. And if it be right, I will cause your bosom shall burn within you. Therefore you shall feel that it is right. But if it is not right, you shall have no such feeling. That principle is illustrated by the story of a little girl. She was upset with her brother who built a trap to catch sparrows. Unable to get any help, she said to herself, "Well, I'll pray about it." After her prayer, the little girl told her mother, I know he's not going to catch any sparrows in this trap because I prayed about it. I'm positive he won't catch any sparrows." Her mother said, "How can you be so sure?" She said, "After I prayed, I went out and kicked that old trap all to pieces."
You, of course, have heard of the man who lived to a ripe old age and was asked by reporters to what he attributed his longevity. He replied that when he and his wife were married, they determined that if they argued, one would leave the house and go outside. He said, "Gentlemen, I attribute my longevity to the fact that I have breathed so much fresh air during all these many years."
Brothers and sisters, I've been asked to speak in so many of these welfare meetings that I'm beginning to feel that I ought to respond in a manner similar to the grandfather I once knew who was getting along in years, and some people thought he didn't know when to quit talking. At a ward gathering, they thought they shouldn't call on him because he would speak too long. Their final decision was, however, that they couldn't pass by, so they called on him and asked him to stand and tell them in just a word how they could live to be as old as he was and still give such service. So he got up and said, "Keep breathing."